This morning I did a workshop presentation for Aaron, who owns Auto Clean Academy. And Aaron teaches his students how to start, run and scale their car detailing businesses. Aaron and I met at an intensive event, a Bali intensive event for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to learn how to be better entrepreneurs. And we connected because I had a skill set, which is digital marketing. I run a digital marketing agency. And we connected because he wanted to give value to his students on how they can better improve their digital marketing practices through SEO, Google Ads, and Facebook ads. And so this morning I did a hour and 40-minute long workshop that went through basically everything specific to car detailers. So the potential value that is here for you on how I present the digital marketing aspect, on how service-based business owners can increase their digital marketing, what to look out for, the do's and don'ts. We go through absolutely everything in this presentation. Aaron's been nice enough to allow me to give this to you for free. He's paid me to do this. He's paid for my time. And he's been nice enough to allow me to give this to you for free and post on YouTube. I got his permission to do this. So shout out to Aaron. Thank you very much, mate. So this is like a hour-long thing. I won't bore you too much more with this. The value in this will probably be something to do with like how I would approach service-based businesses through the use of digital marketing, how to best leverage digital marketing, and it goes through everything in quite a lot of detail. So I hope you get a lot of value from this. It's a long one, so you might want to just chuck your headphones in and have a bit of a walk around, but it actually goes through slides and things, so it actually has the visual component too. This was my first go at a workshop too, so I was like, the first 15 minutes I was talking a bit fast. It's kind of weird just talking to a screen and nobody else, but they were on Zoom, all the students were on Zoom. And anyway, I'll let you enjoy the video, and so I hope you get a lot of value from it. Turbocharge your business growth. The do's and don'ts of digital marketing for car detailers. So there's a lot in the industry that you'll need to know about doing and not doing. The three core methods, which we just covered before, how to leverage all three in the right way for you and specifically for you, and how to know what method is going to be best over, depending on where you're at in your business journey is going to be dependent on what you can use and what you can best leverage. It's not the same for everybody. We'll do a Q&A as well. So if you have any burning questions, please if it helps you to put them in the chat, and then we can get around to them so we don't forget, or write them down, whatever it might be. And I've tried my best to sort of make this presentation to cater for as many different sort of seasons of business you guys are in, depending on whether you're 0 to 5K a month, whether you're 30 plus per month, whatever it looks like. I've tried to cater the presentation to that. So there might be parts that might not even be relevant to you, or there might be parts that are. But if you have any questions, we can cover all things. And at the very end of the presentation, I'll stay around for as long as you guys need me. Whatever you guys need, just stay around. I'll be able to answer every single question that you guys have. And I'll also give you access to me after this as well. If you have anything on your mind that you need some help with, I can be accessible for you. All right, so who I am, I made a really cool photo of myself to make myself look better. And it's heavily edited, by the way, done by me. I help businesses make more sales and generate leads with SEO, Google Ads, and Facebook ads. I've been doing it for the good part of a decade. I don't think that's a credential in itself, but I've been doing it long enough to kind of know how it all works. I have a small team. It's just me and my laptop. So I don't have a big agency, but I did have one of those before. And one of the biggest challenges I saw with agency life is that I noticed that you just get treated as a number. So I really didn't want that. And now I have a real core group of people that I love to work with. We get great results together. I'm friends with all my clients. And I just think that dynamic works a lot better than any other type of dynamic, especially for the digital marketing area. I connected with Aaron at a business event, and we saw an opportunity to help you guys win. And that's why we're doing this today. So I just hope to give you as much value as humanly possible. And I just hope that, whatever you guys need and require, I can be here for you to be able to give you that value. So thanks very much for listening and being here. I'm going to show you some results that I've achieved to give you a bit of an idea of, the sort of stuff that we're doing. I tried to pick a couple of clients that were in sort of aligning areas, kind of like automotive, that might be helpful to kind of understand. But Element Trailer is one of my clients. This is their search engine optimization results that we achieved. we got to the first spot for custom toy hauler on Google Australia wide. So anywhere across Australia, if you typed in custom toy hauler, a toy hauler is basically, you guys probably know what it is, but it's where you carry around all your, whether it be a car, any type of like just large things that you want to cart around. They make custom versions of those in different sizes. So within the space of about 6 months, we got them up into that first spot, which gave them an organic traffic kind of volume of around about 700 to 1,000 searches per month. And that's all free kind of traffic. We did some Facebook ads for them as well. And this absolutely crushed. So the Facebook ads from August 1 to October 26 in the 2023 period, that was over the course of August, September, October. So sort of a 3-month period, we generated 86 leads on Facebook at about $46 per lead. And the reason it was so effective on Facebook was because you could have the visual aspect of things. People love to see really great video of toy haulers being carted around and watching motorbikes be wheeled out, like all the awesome features of it. So people just loved the visual component of it. And you can see on the right-hand side here is the actual quotes that came through on the back end of the website. So this is in the back end of WordPress. You can see they were averaging about 2 to 3 quotes per day. So it is possible to have really great, like these guys were a really young business. And the funny thing is they couldn't keep up with the demand of the inquiries that they were getting. So that's even an aspect of like the business side of things where digital marketing can work too well, and they didn't have a proper sales team in place. So they're still doing really well, but they actually had to wind the marketing down because it was doing too well. So that's one. Another client that I had some really great results with was AS Lodge. They do tennis court construction, and they basically rank in the top searches for all these key terms. So tennis court construction, builders, design, like these type of keywords, which gave them organically about 25 to 30 leads per month. And that, I think the conversion rate was something like 36%. So over time, they would take a while to close a deal, but they eventually got there. Google Ads, they ran alongside this, and they had around 91 conversions over the space of the last 6 months with the same conversion rate. So you can see the time period being 6 months, 91 leads generated at about $2,000 overall cost through Google Ads. Cost per lead was $21, and the close rate high basically is just around about that 36% mark. So keeping in mind that the close rate on a tennis court is very different to a car detailer, of course, because your close rate is going to take some time to close over time. But once you have those numbers, you kind of can forecast how much money you want to be spending on your ads and your advertising. Also, Facebook ads did not work for tennis court construction. It just wasn't a medium that was going to be effective. So, and that I'll get into that for you guys on how that kind of looks. All right, so I'll get into the meat of the presentation. There are 3 mediums when it comes to your advertising. So your Google SEO, your Google ads, and your Facebook ads. I'm going to run through just like the basics of this. If you guys already know this, I'm sorry if I'm running over it again. If you don't, then this will be helpful, of course. So for your SEO component, you don't pay per click. So it takes time to improve your rankings. And depending on a lot of different factors, the organic nature of SEO can take time to get into those top searches. Google Ads, you do pay per click. So every time your result comes up in the top of Google, then once you're getting clicked on, you're basically that costs you money. So you set a budget per day and you spend based on the keywords that you've selected over time. And there's a lot of different ways to be able to move that around. Facebook ads, you do pay per click as well. So you set a daily budget, and then the advertisements are spread across Instagram and Facebook with a creative style. I've included memes across basically all these to make it a bit more enjoyable, because that's this sort of stuff my droning voice can just get a bit boring. So hopefully this will spark it up a bit. One of the most important parts of digital marketing is it's not a magic bullet for business growth. And I think a lot of business owners fall into this trap. There's so many different variables with digital marketing that can be a bit of a pitfall. And one of the biggest ones that I see is a lot of business owners rush into digital marketing, think it's going to be the magic bullet to making their business grow and getting them to the next level, and just having unlimited money. And especially when they're, I'll get into some pros and cons sort of stuff, but there's the variables that you see within the digital marketing world. Basically, digital marketing will only, with your SEO, your Google ads, your Facebook ads, it will exacerbate any sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's going to, whatever issues you have inside your business, digital marketing will make that known, basically. So it's not going to be the magic bullet, and there are so many variables there that will stop you from increasing over time. Common pitfalls with digital marketing I see very often: turning a blind eye to how it works and relying on digital marketing expert to make your business a success. I would say one of the biggest issues is that people run into a digital marketing campaign without knowing anything about it. So once they get in there, then they expect the agency or the professional that they're working with to make this a success for them. So that's usually not the case. It's something where you have to have at least a basic understanding to make it a success. Seeing the marketing as you do this for me approach, marketing is a partnership, and the more you put into it, the more you get out. And this is one of the caveats as well. Being able to have a time and energy putting into your marketing as well with the agency owner or whoever it is that's helping you. It's hard because you're out there doing your job, and usually you're the one doing everything, especially in those early days. So the marketing is one of those things you can hardly have energy for, but at least having a basic understanding, like, as I mentioned before, is going to really help you increase your workload and being able to pull yourself out of the business more if that's what you want to do. Focusing on vanity metrics, likes and comments over the actual real data that you need to be looking at, which we'll get into as well. You need to know your competitors. So if you're, as I mentioned before, when you start your marketing process, it will only bring to light the things that might be broken inside your business. So if you haven't reviewed your competitors and what they're doing and how they're putting together their offers, what mediums they're using, what type of content that they're advertising, then you're already on the back foot. So having someone to help you review competitors is really important. Not having your numbers done. So knowing your numbers, and I'm sure Aaron will help you guys, has helped you guys with this and understanding your numbers. I mentioned digital marketing shining a light on your business practices. If your offer is poor, then your marketing won't work very well. So that's just one example. Poor quality content is really, really important. Like, if you have poor quality content, digital marketing only just makes that more known. So you want to have good quality stuff. And having the mindset that once marketing doesn't work once, it doesn't work at all. Usually it takes a bit of testing to kind of work out what is actually going to be effective for you and your business, and everybody's business is different. No one business is the same. So there's going to be obviously differentiations, and marketing is a broken business from the start. So which works into shining a light on your business practices. So when do you know is the right time for your marketing? Usually what I say in digital marketing, the digital marketing world, is when your service can be effectively sold without the use of paying for marketing, then that's a good time that you know is probably right to start putting some money behind it. When you know that if you can go to a business like get your service done by somebody, and there is little friction in the middle between the time that you go and you make the inquiry and then you do the job, then once that process is streamlined, then is probably a good time that you know you can do some sort of marketing. You start to put money behind your marketing. You have your target customer dialed in as well. So you know who the person is that you're trying to speak to, whether it's mums and dads, whether it's, how much money do they have, what are their interests, all these kinds of things are really important to know who you're directly speaking to. If you have a target customer that you know is in your local area or your area of service, that's when you know is a good time to start your marketing. You have actual allocated marketing spend. Usually that's not the case in the early stages. Like you might have slim margins. There might be some time in between where you just haven't got free cash to be able to spend on marketing. But if you do, then there's no bad time to be advertising. So I would still put money behind your advertising if you have some marketing budget there to spend, or if you've allocated for that. When your business has expanded services after it has been established in one service area already. So, as an example, like if you monopolize a certain market for a certain type of service and you want that to be more known, that's a good time to be able to start your marketing as well. There's never really truly a bad time to advertise, but knowing where your business journey marker is helps you understand how effective marketing will be. And that speaks for itself a little bit, but it's just like, there are a lot of moving parts. So we're going to get down to how to make those most effective. Give me a second. I'm just going to take a drink. All right. Your offer. So this is one of the biggest things that I see is usually an issue for the digital marketing world when they're getting started, especially for a service-based business. Everyone normally has the same offer. Get a quote and we'll just quote the job and, we'll come out to you and we'll do it. And normally that's just not enough, especially when it comes to marketing, because your digital marketing is your marketing to people who don't know you exist. That's the people we want to find, because if we can find those people, then and we're selling to those people, then word of mouth increases, your brand increases, all these things increase. Digital marketing is meant to be sent to people who don't know about you. Something could be said about Facebook ads where you can retarget to, people who have interacted with you before and these kinds of things, and they're sort of warmer customers. But usually your offer is one of the most important aspects of getting your marketing to be working properly. So if your marketing is just get a quote, then that's probably going to already put you on the back foot in terms of getting new business. So we want to create an offer, and I know that everyone's probably read something to do with Hormozi, and Dan Bolton calls it the Purple Bible, where he talks about creating guarantees and all those kinds of things. I don't personally believe that we need to create an offer so good that it's hard for them to say no. But what I do believe in is having some kind of point of difference, so that when your advertisement is put in front of somebody who doesn't know that you exist, it at least gets them thinking enough so that they can go, oh, that could be a pretty good deal for me to get into the market of getting my car cleaned often, or finding a new person, or whatever it might be. Just saying get a quote usually isn't enough. So a good offer is something that can lower the barrier to entry so that they can build some form of relationship with you at the very beginning. And you got to think, if we're putting a Google advertisement in front of someone, it's costing you, let's say it's costing you $3 for them to get a click on that. You're paying a Google Ads expert to be able to get that ad in front of them. They go to your page and your content's good, everything's good, but your first package is, a premium package, which there's nothing wrong with it. But usually people are extremely, what's the word? They're desensitized to not having an offer there. They can tell that everybody has the same offer. It's just like, this is our packages and this is how much it costs. It doesn't always have to be price-based as well. There can be some other type of incentive, but having a good offer from the very beginning is really, really important. Offer examples. I went through this with a guy last week that I spoke to in the digital marketing, the car detailing area. And I showed him Jim's Car Cleaning. They're offering $99 details for the first clean. And you can see the pricing on the right-hand side here. It's got hatch and sedan 99, and there's got small SUV 115. So they're offering $99, but the bigger cars, they're actually offering the 129, 115. Now these are extremely cheap. I realize this. And the first comment I was met with is like, how the hell are they doing this? It's because Jim's Car Detailing knows the lifetime value of a customer. So when someone comes in their world, they buy a $99 detail offer for their hatch or their sedan, as an example, right? I have a BMW sedan. So I'd look at this and I'd be like, oh, I'll give these guys a chance. And the reason they know is because they know the lifetime value of a customer over time. So once they make that first sale and they do a great job and they build a really good relationship, and then they show them their packages afterwards and what the positive thing is about using them long term, then that's where they know they make their money, because from the $99 offer, their price increases to whatever their retail price is. And over time, that's where they made their money. If they have a lifetime value of a customer and over the space of, let's just say it lasts for 6 months, then they know that that one person that they made the conversion on from the very beginning, they know they're making 6 months worth of cleans usually, and they have a conversion rate on that LTV. So that's why they can do the first one so cheap. They're not going to win every single time. They might get the first clean, then someone may not even use it again. But it's a one-time offer for new customers only, these kinds of things. And they have really, really strong advertising imagery that they utilize. And I can actually show you guys all the ads that they're running right now through Facebook. And this would work really, really well for paid advertising, because the $99 offer is like, they're so cheap. But they know what their lifetime value is. For your own offers, if you guys aren't using ChatGPT religiously, then you're sleeping on a mountain of great ideas. Use ChatGPT for everything. Like, I talk to it daily just to be able to unblock ideas and creative ideas. Give it really good prompts so that you can come up with really great offers and you can test them. And not every single offer is going to be a winner, but being able to put together good offers that are going to lower the barrier to entry. They don't have to be price-based either. You can have offer-based offers. You can have offers that are, they're not, you can say buy one, get one for half price, whatever it might be, something that's going to allow your customer to be able to lower the barrier to entry so that they can start that relationship with you. And then you can start to put data together based on your lifetime value of customers as well. And you can do this for all different services. So that's offers. Knowing your numbers. Now, this works into what I was saying before with lifetime value. I've tried to simplify this best I possibly can because my area of specialty is how to do the advertising aspect. But all these prefaced things before this is really important, because if you don't know a customer's LTV as an example, then you're not going to know how to advertise correctly to be able to know that you're making a profit over time. Because usually the profit doesn't happen in the first transaction. The profit happens over time. You're building relationships with customers so that you can have ongoing business. Usually the ongoing stuff, it's easier to have ongoing business than it is to get new people into your world. So understanding the basics of your numbers will help you justify spending on digital marketing as well. The digital marketing cost is one. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. It just isn't. If you get it done well, it's just not cheap. But as I mentioned, it's not going to be the golden goose. It's not going to be the magic bullet. So you got to know your customer LTV. LTV, I've said a billion times. Lifetime value of a customer. If you know once someone comes to your world that usually they last for around about 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, however long the relationship lasts, then you can sort of work backwards from that to know how much you can spend on advertising. Then you can be more at ease with the fact that, I'm spending $5,000 a month on advertising, but I know that if I get this many leads, I close it at this rate, and then the LTV of those people are going to be this long. And then customer acquisition cost. So I only use 3 metrics here. There are obviously a lot more, but in my head, I like to simplify as much as I can to make it as easy as possible to understand. So these 3 numbers, what I did, I actually put this into ChatGPT, and you can do the same thing to calculate just basic numbers so that you kind of know how everything works. Now, these numbers here on the right-hand side, like, I'm not going to go through all of them, and you can have a bit of a look at this when you get the actual physical thing, because as I said, my area of expertise is how to do the advertising component, not so much these numbers. But if you at least understand them on a basic level, then you have an estimate at the very least, and Aaron's probably already got you guys doing this as well. You have an estimate at least of what you can be profitable with when you run advertising. Advertising just isn't cheap, guys. So it's one of those things you kind of need to know a little bit about, and just get a little bit granular with taking the emotion out of things and really understanding your numbers really, really well. So I won't go through this too much, but basically it's just like those 3 numbers, and then those 3: digital marketing cost, LTV, acquisition cost, and how it all works in a basic sort of, in a really basic way. And these numbers are ridiculous. Like, they're just not real, but at least you guys can sort of work backwards from that as well in your own businesses. Understanding your customer. Speaking to everyone speaks to no one. And I understand that in car detailing, you have a local service area. So it's not as if, you have a massive audience like Australia wide, US wide, UK wide. You have a small local area usually. And if there are some of you here that are, going into different cities, or you're putting more vans on the road, or whatever it looks like, usually you have a certain type of customer that you're going to, or you're trying to go to. And I would recommend at least talking to a type of customer to make your messaging as clear as possible. Because when you just say, get a quote to get your car washed or to get your car detailed or whatever that looks like, if your language is very generic, then it just makes your marketing harder. If you get clearer on a type of customer, and it doesn't need to be exactly one, I would say one is more effective, but then sometimes you can pigeonhole yourself a little bit. But at least having a type of customer that you're trying to find, your language can sort of speak directly to that person. So who are they? Really understand who they are and do your homework on this. Use ChatGPT, as I mentioned too. What are the things they like doing? Do they have a family? Are they single, married, in a relationship? What are their hobbies? What do they like? Who are we speaking to? So if they're more affluent customers who have higher end vehicles, they probably don't have the same pain points that a mum and dad does, who are both employed, have a couple of kids, and are living in a standard home. They don't have the same type of language that you need to speak to them in. So if you have more affluent customers, you need to speak to them in their way. And that's where you can use ChatGPT prompts, where it's like your language can really be speaking to those people directly. Your offers will also resonate with the exact type of person you're wanting to target. So if they're more affluent customers, they're not wanting discounts because they want to spend on the right person to get the right job done. Like, they're not letting someone touch their Lamborghini if they're doing a $99 offer. It's just not, they don't care. The money's not a problem. But if they're mums and dads and they just have their family van that needs to be a basic wash every week, or every few weeks, sorry, or whatever the frequency is, then the $99 offer from the very beginning is probably going to speak directly to them, so you can build a relationship. Then you can come up with a price that works for you and for them. So understanding the type of person is important for those aspects. And then you can direct your marketing to platforms those people are on. So social media marketing might work a lot better for highly affluent customers because they're probably scrolling on social media a little bit more than, let's just say, the mums and the dads. They might be on Google, like looking for a service, where your SEO and your Google ads are far more effective, which is why the different methods don't work for everybody. Reviews. I can't stress this enough. Reviews are the backbone of your business. They are everything. If you don't have your reviews set up in a way that is in front, like if you have good amounts of reviews and they are high stars, you need to be plastering that everywhere, on everything, on the bottom of your email if you can. I can't stress enough how important your reviews are, especially for your line of work. You're looking after things that are expensive that people own and they take care of. They don't get detailing for their vehicles because they don't care. They get it because they do. And so they need to know the person that's coming is going to be looking after their vehicle. So your reviews are really, really important. And I would plaster these everywhere. What I would do is, your Google reviews are usually the thing that are most important. If you have other review mediums, then direct them all to that. But Google reviews are usually the most effective because it is local area. So when people are typing in keywords and you're popping up, you want those 5-star reviews there. If you haven't already, there is a way, and I can show you guys how to do this after the fact or whatever you need. But inside Google My Business, there is a shareable link that you can send to people to be able to do reviews. And I would always, in every single case, if you know that you did a great job for somebody, you're sending that link to them, asking them kindly for a review. If needed, I would give them an incentive to make the review for you. If they just haven't looked at it, or if they've ignored it or whatever, I would follow up on this and I would make sure your reviews come through, because they are really the backbone of everything. That is one of the first things. It's as good as an offer, honestly, because one of the first things they look at is going to be how good are the reviews of this service provider. So making sure you got these really dialed in is super important. All that said, let's go into some specifics of the medium. I hope you guys are kind of with me here. I'm already hating the sound of my own voice, but I hope that you're getting value from this. So search engine optimization for car detailers. So this is going to be the first one. Now, as I said, I tried my best to make this catered for as many different sort of places you guys are in with business. So bear with me. SEO is basically your keyword rankings on Google when someone types the keywords in to find your services. So down the bottom here is your SEO results. When I typed in car details Melbourne, which is where I'm from, and the top ones are your Google Ads results. So cost per click up here, organic down here. Organic traffic is one of the most powerful forms of marketing. Now, there are some things to note about this, but it's made up of a lot of different factors. SEO is one of those services that is kind of like the unknown, though. It is one of the most effective, but it is also one of the most frustrating at times because you don't know what an SEO person is doing and they can barely explain it in a way that makes sense. Google hold the keys to the kingdom in terms of algorithms. So the algorithm is extremely important. You need to abide by Google's rules so you come up in those searches higher. And it is kind of like the black sheep. It's one of those things that's really hard to get into those top rankings. But the thing is, once you're there, you're usually there for a good amount of time and you get nice organic traffic and clicks without having to pay anything. You're usually just paying the service provider that's actually helping you with it. The pros of SEO and the cons of SEO. So the pros is you don't have to cost per click. Once you're ranking, it's free. You might be paying an SEO company a monthly retainer to be able to help you with this, but the cost is free. So if you stopped with that agency, generally speaking, wherever you are sitting, you will probably be around about those areas, unless something crazy happens and your SEO company is just, you're insane and they do something crazy, which I've heard horror stories. But usually you sort of stick around in those organic positions. They are generally the better quality leads as well. So if you're in organic searches and they're making an inquiry from Google on organic, on SEO, they're usually better than paid leads in terms of quality. They're usually long-term results. So once you're ranking, they stick around, as I've mentioned. Whereas, say, Google ads, if you turn your ads off, you're gone. They don't exist anymore until you turn them back on and you actually run them properly. And they target local customers. So your map listings, as I mentioned with the reviews, the better quality your map listing, they'll usually pop up in those top searches, which is really effective for you guys, obviously. So having that SEO done well is really important. The cons of SEO, it can be very expensive to maintain. If you pick a good SEO company or someone you trust, then they usually will charge a premium for this. In saying that, if you choose someone that is just looking to make you another number, like I know in the agency world, then generally speaking, they will charge you based on pricing. So they'll try and undercut and they'll just charge you based on price and that kind of thing. It's just like, doesn't really work very well. Algorithms can push you down the rankings if you're already doing well and can determine how difficult it is for you to rank. So Google changes the rules all the time. Like in this year alone, they released 3 core algorithm updates. It could be 2 or 3. And they were big updates. So when they change the algorithms, they can fluctuate rankings heavily. And you need to be like, if you're doing your own SEO, you kind of need to be watching that stuff. But if you're not, then your SEO company should be doing that too. So you can, algoroo.com is one of the websites you can check algorithm updates and sort of what they mean. If you're running your own stuff, it's really important to kind of watch. Generally, it's a long-term strategy. It takes time to rank. So, and not every case is a winner either. So you could have history of your domain name having gone through a lot of algorithms that have sort of not abided by the rules, and you could be hamstrung with your rankings. It may never rank in a lot of cases because the algorithms have determined that they just don't trust the website. That is an extreme case, but it does happen. And if you are starting from the ground up, then it takes time to build authority over time. So it could take up to 12 months to be able to get you in these top positions. And then in a lot of cases, you could be hamstrung by a lot of different variables, which we'll get into in a second. The ROI of Google SEO can be really unpredictable because it is hard to track. So if you got paid advertising, you know the conversions, you know what they are. Like it literally tells you one conversion, lead form submission, phone call, whatever it might be, so you can track what that is. Whereas SEO, you kind of have to guess a little bit. It's hard. So if you're getting form submissions that aren't from your paid advertising, that aren't from, let's say, a business listing or something like that, then it's usually from organic. It's usually from SEO, but it is hard to know sort of where it came from unless you actually ask the customer, hey, where did you find us? And they'll usually say, oh, I just typed into Google. So that's usually when you know it's SEO. So it is a little bit harder to track. How to rank on Google. So there's a few components that Google SEO is made up of. And I won't go into huge amounts of depth here, but what I will do is sort of give you an overview so you kind of know what to do for your own SEO stuff. Number one is the tools that you'll need. So you'll need a Google My Business profile. If you haven't got that set up, do that yesterday. Google Search Console is like Google's official tool that is utilized for moving parts around and making your awareness known on Google. And Google Analytics to track your visitors and your data, just at the absolute basics. Second one is keywords. So researching lists of keywords that you know people are typing in for your services. There's a bunch of different tools that you can use for this, and I've made a checklist for you guys that you can just quickly get off the back of this presentation as well. And the keyword list is important. It's not like the absolute be all and end all, but having the main keywords that people are trying to search for your services in your local area is important, and you should be tracking them. I've got all the tools that you guys can use for this too. But as an example, if you have a look at the top competitor in your area, so let's just say you're a car detailer in Sydney. So I would type in car detailer Sydney. I'd look at who's ranking first, and I'd review what they've got written on their website. Like, what are the services? How are they wording it? That kind of thing. I would look at those things to determine what the keywords would look like. On-page optimization. So this is where you actually optimize your website so it talks to Google correctly. At the very least, everyone should have their website optimized right. Whether you get a professional to do it or whether you try and do it yourself, if you just haven't got the backing financially to be able to do it, at least having a go at doing this yourself, if you're in that position, is really important. Or if you do have a bit of the means to be able to do it, I would just get this done. Where the keyword research is done for you, the on-page optimization with all these aspects are done for you as well. Because if Google doesn't know where to direct traffic or how to read your website in a way that's easy for their algorithms to determine where to put your website in searches, then it's hard to be able to know sort of like where Google wants to put you. So as an example, if you're a car detailer in Sydney and you haven't got Sydney mentioned on your homepage, or you haven't got car detailer mentioned on your homepage in the right way, Google's not going to be able to recommend you as well. And that's a very basic kind of way of putting it, but there are a lot of different variables go into it. Like if you mention car detailer Sydney too many times, that's when you can start to raise flags to Google as well. So getting this done properly, I would say, is a really, really important thing. Once it's done once, usually you can just leave it. It doesn't need to be done a million different times. If you're adding things like new services, as an example, new service pages, these kinds of things, they need to be SEO'd. They need to be done correctly. But for the most part, if you have a website and you're pretty solid on all the services that you're offering and everything, then having this done once is usually enough. Website updates are obviously another aspect where you need to make sure your optimization is done right. Backlinks. No agency or SEO person likes to talk about backlinks because it is one of the most effective ways to get your rankings right. And they don't like talking about it because it's kind of like the elephant in the room. If you've ever had SEO done, you probably will understand this a little bit. And if you haven't, then backlinks are super, super important. Google themselves actually say that, oh no, don't worry about backlinks. Like, we just want you to do natural business. Worry about backlinks. They are super important. What is a backlink? Basically, it's when your website is linked from another website to yours. So an example of that could be your website's on a business listing. Let's say it's like True Local, or it's like, what's a really well-known one? I'm trying to make this as globally recognized as possible. It's on another website and it links back. Now, the thing with backlinks is they need to be relevant. They can't just be from anywhere. Like if you're linked from, let's just say you're linked from a website that has nothing to do with your service. Like it could be you're mentioned on, actually, I was going to say a pet store, but that could be relevant because they have pet, mobile cars, and you could be doing their service for them. But just think of a website that's not relevant whatsoever. It could be just like a gambling website, and it's like you're mentioned on that website in a forum or something, and it links back to your website. That's an example of something that's a poor link, and Google will flag that. So you need to have links that are relevant and good quality. So a good quality link, let's just take the pet store as an example. Mobile pet store, they need their vehicle detailed every 2 weeks as an example. They probably don't do this, I don't know, but they need it done every 2 weeks. you're an affiliate partner of theirs, or you're a service provider of theirs, and you have like, a kickback of some sort where you both do something for each other, you are mentioned on their website as one of those people, and your link goes back, and you're basically like um, let's just say this car detailing website does our detailing every 2 weeks. Really horrible way of explaining it, but it's relevant for the fact that you help them do the service that they need, and that comes back to your website, and it gives good authority. Google recognize that as good authority. So this is one of the hardest things to do, because usually it requires you to do real life business with real life people and have real life relationships, and that's why backlinking is very difficult. And that's why it's one of the areas that are so effective, because if you can do it well and better than anybody else, then generally you're going to rank in those top spots. Google are going to recognize that as goodwill. There are ways that you can absolutely detrimentally affect your SEO by having poor quality links and getting the wrong type. And that would need to be reviewed in a way. Like there's tools that you can use to look at the links and where they are. And I can show you what those are. But for the most part, links are really, really important. So doing good business organically is going to be one of the best ways to do your backlinks. Content, again, super important. Your SEO user experience on your website is just most things. Like if you have poor quality imagery, if you have horribly written copy on your website that it just doesn't speak to anybody, it's just kind of like jargon that's just really generic and that kind of thing. Google recognizes this stuff as poor quality. It wants the best possible user experience for the customer that's looking for the service. If you think about it in that way, it's going to allow you to make your content far better, because it's going to rank you higher. So if you have, let's just say you have your service mentioned, and you're using all the same generic wording that everybody else does. Come and get a free quote for your car detailing service today, kind of thing. It's like, and then that's just like, it's just that expanded across your entire website. You need to speak to your customer in a way that it's not just copy as well. It's in the way your imagery works with video. One of the most underrated things is having a video on your homepage of who it is that's actually coming out to do the detailing and talking about what service it is that you offer in a professional way. It's you on the front of the page. I'm not saying you have to do that, but creating content that is engaging and good quality for your customer is what Google recognizes as high quality, and what they recognize as something that will rank higher. So putting your effort into that and really trying your best to make your content as good as it possibly can be on your website is really, really important aspect of your SEO stuff. Value points. So there's just a few things that you can do kind of today that will help you with your SEO. If you're looking to do it yourself, your website speed, 3 seconds or less is optimal, I would say. So I would try my best to get that sort of down where you can. If your website speed is higher than that, like if it's 5 seconds, it's not detrimental. I would just say 3 seconds or less is just a good amount of time. And if your website speed is like at 10 seconds, chances are when someone's sitting there waiting for it to load, Google doesn't like that to start with, but also it's just like you got to think from a user experience. Like we all have a short attention span. So let's just get that thing moving as fast as possible. You can test it with that link there as well. And you can sort of check from your local area what your website speed is looking like. It will then run a report for you that'll be like, it'll show you anything that's wrong. And then usually a developer will be the one to help you with that. And it depends on the type of website CMS you're using as well. So like if you're on Squarespace, it's harder to get your website speed faster, but you can do it. And people can help you with that. Like developers can help you with that. SEO on page checklist. So this is like, if you click on this link, it'll take you to a full checklist of things you can do that you can help with your own SEO if you're looking to do it yourself. I would just recommend that you just get someone to sort of help you with your SEO if you can do that, because it is a bit of the unknown. But there is a checklist there if you want to go through that. YouTube's your friend with this sort of stuff. Jump onto YouTube and just type into YouTube how to do an SEO on page for your website CMS, or if it's how to do an SEO on page for Squarespace, WordPress, whatever it is. If you're looking to do it yourself, it'll walk you step by step how to do it, and you can utilize that checklist as well. That'll sort of check off those things, and you can specifically search for them as well. Like I mentioned, if you don't know how to do the above and you have a bit of money that you can sort of spend. I would get, at the very least, I would get someone to do your SEO, or I would get someone to do your a technical on page so that you can get your website optimized in the right way. So it's speaking to Google in the right way. That way, it's just like a one-off thing. You can get it done, and then at least you know that it's talking to Google right, and you can just focus on your backlinks and quality of your content on your website, that kind of thing. That will really, really help you moving forward. All right, Google Ads for car detailers. Again, I've tried my best to make this as easy to understand as humanly possible and give you value for this. But all this basically says this is cost per click. That's what that says. Now, there's obviously a lot of different variables go into this in terms of like your keyword research. Again, keyword research with SEO and Google Ads works hand in hand. It's the same stuff. So I typed in car detailers Melbourne, you'll see that you got Jim's car detailing up here. If they were running Google Ads and they had a specific budget set, they'd come up here as well. So you'd have double. You'd have them here and you'd have them here. So they work hand in hand with each other. They work a little bit differently in a sense. If you're trying to bid on keywords, let's just say you're not ranking for a specific service that's like paint correction or something. And sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong, but like paint correction, and you're not coming up in Google searches for SEO stuff, you might want to bid on that keyword for your Google Ads and put some spend behind that to try and drive traffic utilizing your sponsored Google Ads at the top here. And that's a good way to be able to send traffic to your landing page for a particular service you're not ranking for, to test if that's going to allow for inquiries and to get new business through that service. So that's one way that you can utilize it for. There's a lot of different bidding strategies, landing page optimization in terms of like making your landing pages really, really strong once they hit it. I usually wouldn't send them directly to a homepage straight away because it's just like, it's not specific to the keyword that they're searching for. And there's a lot of different aspects like your budget management as well. Google Ads is one of these areas where I would just get a professional to do this. Unless you are like quite confident with your Google Ads, I would just get a professional to do it because it can get really costly really fast if you're not watching the right areas. One keyword can cost you a lot of money that you didn't know was costing you a lot of money. Like I'm talking $20 per click on some things that you didn't have proper parameters set. It can just really eat your budget up hard. So I would just get someone to do your Google Ads for you. Pros of Google Ads. Instant visibility. Once you start a Google Ads campaign, you're in the top searches. Done. You're up there. You exist. So it puts you up in the top straight away, unlike SEO where it takes time to be able to rank. Targeted reach. So you can set your demographics, your locations, service area, all those kinds of things to wherever you want for Google. And it will only show you for those specific things. So really having that dialed in. Pay per click, you do pay per click. So once someone clicks on your result, that money out of your bank account, money out of your budget. Measurable ROI. Like it is like really easy to know where your inquiries are coming from. So if they're hitting your website and they're filling out a lead form, Google tracks everything. They also even track your phone number, and the phone number can be tracked and can be changed dynamically when they hit that phone number. So let's just say you got your mobile number mentioned, and you should have click to call on your responsive as an example. Responsive meaning your mobile. If you go to your if you get a click from Google Ads to your website and they click on the mobile number and they make that phone call, Google Ads will tell you that has been done. So it's really easy to determine if they're coming to your website. Scalability, you can scale Google Ads based on what works well. So if you're getting one ad group as an example that's working extremely well, you can scale the budget on that and you can get more clicks that you know is working. And usually it's a winning combination. Google Ads is quite straightforward once you have a nice understanding of exactly who is coming to your website and who is making the inquiries. You can double down on that quite well and you can increase it over time. And then if you're doing your numbers right, it's really easy to forecast that too. Flexible ad formats, you got display, video, shopping ads. Shopping ads, obviously, it's not going to be relevant to you guys, but like search and display are important and they can be utilized. Usually search is the winner. Search is basically just the keywords that come up on the top. Like I mentioned before, this is search. Display is when you have an actual image that is displayed on other websites. You'll see it's like got ad space and it comes up, but usually the winner is always search, which is these. That's usually the best way to do service-based advertising for your Google Ads. Cons of Google Ads. It can be costly, and competitors can click on your stuff. Competitors or bots, they can click on your stuff. Google is usually pretty good at weeding that out these days. They've gotten very good at understanding what are bots and what are competitors and clicking on them, but it doesn't get rid of everything. So you can get these situations where you're spending quite a bit of money from competitor clicks or clicks that just aren't your thing. And there's not really much you can do about it. All you can really do is continue to run your ads and hope that you are optimizing them in the right way, and your ad agencies are optimizing them the right way, so it can drive up costs. It requires constant monitoring. You need to be looking at it daily. It's just the way that it is. You need to know what you're looking at. And that's why I always say get a professional to do this if you're not sure. Short-term results, once you stop paying for your Google ads, you don't exist anymore. So once you stop your campaign, you're gone from the searches. Click fraud, we just covered that. And learning curve, without experience, ads can be very, very expensive. Get the professionals to do it. Google Ads is pretty straightforward. I didn't include too much, so if you have questions about this at the end, please go for it. Facebook ads, again, Jim's car detailing. I think it's pretty straightforward in terms of what Facebook ads do. Instagram and Facebook are the placements in terms of the mediums, and then you've got different areas that your ads will be placed on. So it will be feeds, stories. There are other areas like your like sidebars and these kinds of things, but usually feeds and stories are the main two. And the great thing about Facebook ads is the visual element. So having your imagery like this, you can see this type of thing. It works really, really well. You got a real life image with Jim's car detailing in the background. It's got the big offer on the front. Again, reviews, so important having that there. You can visually see an ad in front of you. Here's the caveat to it. Not like Facebook may not work for your particular area based on your competition, your serviceability, all these types of things. But at least testing this to work out if it works for you guys is really, really important. If that's sort of the route you want to go, and depending on how good your content is. So there are different ways that you can run your ads. You have ability to retarget. So you can utilize specific messaging for retargeting. As an example, it could be, hey, we know you've been checking out your website, where you can target people who have been to your website. Here is an offer just specifically for you. It's $99 for the first wash. We come to you, blah, 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 whatever it is. You can specifically target those type of people. The ad creative can change between video and image, depending, and you can test that to see what works really, really well. And there are obviously different campaign objectives, but leads is kind of what you want to be optimizing for. And then there are custom audiences you can go with. So if you know that more females, or that's kind of like your area that you're wanting to target, they are specifically trying to find your service, then you can target just females. Same with just men, or you can have both and have different age ranges. You can have different interests, but interest targeting is kind of dying a little bit, but you can test those things as well. So interest targeting being people who are just interested in, I don't know, dogs and cats. I don't know. But you can sort of test what those things are to see what's working well for you. Pros and cons of Facebook advertising. Highly targeted audiences for your pros. You can set those demographics, as I mentioned before, and you can sort of test who it is that you're trying to, and this works back into understanding your customer too. Because if you can really hyper focus on one type of person, then you're speaking directly to that type of person, and Facebook gives you that ability too. Location targeting, you can set a radius, and you can only advertise within that radius. So if you're a local area, you don't want to go outside 20 miles, 50 miles, whatever it is, you can set that radius as well. Ad formats, image, video, carousel, all different types. If you're a really creative person, you're good in front of camera, you're good at, graphic design, these kinds of things. Facebook advertising is your thing, because you have a leg in the air straight away. You can provide an ad agency with that sort of stuff that's going to really help. And that comes into partnering with someone that's, good at this sort of stuff too. Brand awareness and engagement. So as soon as you're up there on Facebook, people see your brand straight away. And if let's say you're targeting highly affluent customers, as an example, who are, they own supercars and this kind of thing, putting a supercar smack bang straight in the middle of your advertisement so that they know that that's what you do really gains trust quickly, and they see your brand. Retargeting, as I mentioned before, the pixel is a bit of code that goes in the back end of your website and all the things that you use for advertising medium. And that pixel tracks all the data of the type of person that is coming to your website. So if you like, your pixel will track every bit of data as soon as they hit your website, make an inquiry, whatever it is. So Facebook know to be able to target those type of customers that are making inquiries. Facebook find your target customers a lot easier the more data that little pixel has. Detailed analytics, like Facebook will give you a lot of different analytics. It's not entirely accurate, honestly. It's about 60 to 70% accurate in my experience, but it gives you a lot of in-depth data to be able to work with. Visual platform, we've covered that. And once you find a winning combination on Facebook, it usually crushes because Facebook has the ability to have comments and likes. The more comments and likes you get on something, the more it's going to show that because it determines that to be something that people want to see. So if you find a winning combination that's getting leads, usually you can double down on that thing and it works really, really well over time. Cons of Facebook advertising, visual content. It's hard to do. So usually you can't just rely on an ad agency to do this for you because they won't nail it, because you are your business and your business is something that you care about and you respect and you want people to see in a good way. Usually if you have an ad agency that you're just like, yeah, just do the image and video for me, they do it and it usually doesn't hit the mark and it's hard to get right. So what I would recommend is if you want to run social advertising, you have a nice sort of two-way street with an ad agency if you're getting them to do it with your creative. Sourcing them with good quality imagery and being clear on the type of messaging you're going with so they can come to the party and they can go, we recommend this, and you have this nice flow. The visual content aspect is hard to do. One of the things that's a con about Facebook advertising is it's usually less effective for quality. You get a lot of different spammy type inquiries and time wasters. Facebook is a bit of a cesspool for it because there's so many different demographics of people on there, and sometimes your targeting isn't 100% effective at all. So you kind of get a lot of different types. It's usually a bit of a cesspool for like poor quality. So you have to wait. There's diamonds in the rough usually. So you get more volume in a lot of ways, but you do get quite a bit of time wasting. So there needs to be something effective in the middle that you can sort of weed that stuff out with. It can be expensive. So you're paying per click or you're paying per impression with Facebook and you're setting a daily budget. So let's say you set your daily budget at $30. You're paying an ad agency, a retainer to help you manage it. And usually that retainer, if they're good at what they do and they do good creative, usually that retainer is pretty high. It needs to be, because to do the creative aspect well, video and imagery for you, that is usually quite expensive, which is why Facebook advertising, I believe you guys can actually do this yourself in a lot of ways with Facebook ads. In saying that, if you don't even want to think about it, it can be expensive. It's not always intent based. So unlike Google ads, Facebook users aren't actively searching for you guys. They're not actually typing in Google car detailing. So that's why you get a lot of different types. When you retarget someone, they might have been to your website. They're a bit of a warmer type of person, but the cold traffic isn't necessarily looking for your service. So when I say cold traffic, I mean people who don't know you exist. People don't know your business. So if they're scrolling through and on stories, they're sort of sitting down at 7 p.m. at night and they've just finished dinner and they're just like watching Netflix and they're scrolling through. It's like your ad comes up. Like they haven't been actively searching for that. So generally it's just like at the point in time that they're thinking about, making an inquiry, like you generally, that's where you get the spam from, or you get a lot of like time wasters. So it's not intent based. Short attention span. So if you're not grabbing someone's attention with your creative, they're scrolling straight past you and you're paying for impressions here sometimes. So that's where it can get expensive with your budgeting. Complex interface. It can be like once you learn it once, it's okay. But if you're just starting, Facebook ads can be overwhelming because the interface can be a little bit confusing. Ad fatigue. If you're not finding a winning combination, I mean a winning combination of your Facebook ad copy, your headlines, your image or video creative. There are so many ways to test these things, these main things. And if you can't find a winning combination within the first, few weeks, then your ad creatives can fatigue. And fatigue basically means they get seen a bunch of times, but people don't inquire to them. So they don't make the inquiry, and that ad is not working. So it's fatiguing because it's been seen so many times. Facebook can't find a customer. So you need to be refreshing your creative refreshing your language, that kind of thing, with your headlines and your copy all the time to be able to get a winning combination. It can be algorithm dependent. So your ad manager with your delivery, and the way that Facebook determines with algorithm, if you have like poor quality scores and these kinds of things, Facebook sometimes won't recommend your ads very well. So, but if your ads are going well, then usually it's the other way around. It will recommend them all the time. So you have to have good quality inside your ad account. Otherwise you can be faced with this. And finding winning combinations, as I mentioned before, requires a lot of testing. So if you're not doing a lot of testing to find those winning combinations, generally it's a little bit slower. If you're lucky enough to find a good combination early on in the piece, you can sort of double down on that and you can do more of what works, but it can take time. Okay, so what the hell do I choose, Ben? Is basically the question you're probably thinking. You need to test, and every case is different. And I know that's probably not the answer you were looking for, but like I could give you some fluff agency spiel about, just do this and whatever, but it's just not what I believe in. Like as a marketer, I'm not in this game to just like sell you guys anything. I'm trying to give you as much value as I can. And when I say you should test what works well for your business, is going to come down to having a recommendation based on what is going to work for you. If you haven't got huge budget right now, let's just say you're just like, mate, I am spent at the end of every single week because I am in my business just flat out right now. There's no way I could possibly market my business. There are ways you still can, and there are ways that you can do it yourself, until such time that you can get to a point where you can hire someone. And that would then say, I would then say in that case, well, then don't look at like a paid advertising route right now. Don't look at like Google ads, because it's just going to be too expensive. You're going to probably be charged $2,000. This is Australian dollars, as a minimum, just to have everything done right. And you probably don't have that means right now. So that's where the variability comes in. Whereas if you do have the budget, if you do have a bit of ability to do that, I would say at the very least, like if your SEO is going okay, then get some Google ads running so that you can start to test some different angles and these kinds of things so you can run your advertising. What I hope to do with you guys is, if you need it, I'm happy to do like a review for you guys, like no charge. I'm not trying to make money off you at all. I just want to help. To sort of determine what I think would be helpful for you. Like if your SEO is just rubbish, but you have a lot of really good links in the back end of your website, I would say get an on-page done, so Google can read your website properly. Here's some recommendations you can do for your SEO, and then you might find one keyword jumps into those top 3 positions just off the back of that, and then you're getting inquiries just like that. And so that's where every single case is different. I'm sorry there wasn't like a really straightforward answer to that, because I know that's what I would be looking for. But that's where I just don't believe there is one answer fits all. So yeah, I'm happy to work with you guys on finding what that thing is for you specifically based on where you're at. Unrealized profit with advertising. Aaron, how's everyone going? Do you reckon, mate? Are we all right?
Yeah, I think so. What is it? Everyone want to give us give us a thumbs up in the chat, or push the little Y in the chat, just to show that we're still all inside. We're all here. We're still paying attention.
I just want to make sure I'm not boring the hell out of them. That's all.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, hell, we got a hell yeah. We got thumbs up. We got lots of Ys.
Awesome.
We're good. We're good. People
Okay,
saying
sweet. Thanks,
we're
guys. I'll get to questions at the end as well. So I'm sticking around till all your questions are answered. No problem. Unrealized profit. So this is something that a lot of people miss with advertising. And I'm going to get into more of the really positive stuff with advertising. There's never really a bad time to get your business out there. And if you're getting seen more often, it's sticking in people's mind. The unrealized profit comes when you're advertising because you get seen more often in your local area. Like you are in your local area to do a specific service. And if you're likable, and if you do a good job, and if you're also advertising, your omnipresence of being in more places more often is always a good thing. If you get one job, just one, off the back of, let's just say 30 days, 60 days worth of advertising, and you do a great job for that one person, the unrealized profit is maybe ongoing work, but also they're telling their friends. Because at the end of the day, word of mouth is the most effective form of advertising there can be. Digital marketing is just there to make you known, really. It's not there as the magic bullet, as I mentioned. So the unrealized profit of this, it's hard to track because you can't track as a data point them telling five of their friends, because they might be the type of person that's really invested in ensuring that their friends get a great job done by something they care about. They could be a car enthusiast. Who knows? We don't know. And they go and they tell a bunch of their friends off the back of that one conversion. And that's the unrealized profit of advertising too. So word of mouth becomes a lot stronger when you have more people in your world. And so the more you're connecting with this, the better in every single case. A bunch of questions, like there was a few questions that got asked by you guys through Aaron, and I've tried my best to answer them. So I will go into those. I want to see what was next. Actually, I want to cover this one first. Mediums to utilize that aren't digital marketing related. I can't be more of an advocate for this, by the way, because your hustle is directly correlated to how well your business does. And that's why digital marketing is kind of like one of those things. It's like the cherry on top. It is the thing that makes your business that's already going well better. So the mediums in the meantime, if you haven't got a huge budget for digital marketing right now, this is 100% what I would do. And this is how I grew my own digital agency to a point where I've never advertised in my entire life for my own business, go figure. But it's because of the hustle that I did outside of that. And while you're a service-based business, it's a little bit different in a sense that you're going out and you're actually physically doing this job. This sort of stuff is one of the more effective ways for you to get new business on the books is your hustle. Connecting with local businesses that are in aligning industries. And this works directly into your SEO as well, by the way. If you go and you actually physically show up at a local business that has an alignment with what you do, it could be an auto shop, it could be a mobile pet groomer, it could be whoever it is, to actually show up in a professional manner with business cards in hand and actually go in there and speak to these people to be able to get some kind of partnership that you could do that you can do together, get a link on their website, actually hustle and get out there and speak to them. It is one of the most effective ways you can do it. Most people don't want to do it because it's just uncomfortable. It's kind of sucky. It's just like, I don't want to have to go and do that. I just want to put my ad on Google Ads and hope someone clicks it and we can get an inquiry. I'm not advocating for not doing that. Or what I am saying though is there are ways that you can really get the ball rolling so you can get towards that digital marketing scalability, so you can get out of the business if that's what you want to do, or you can increase your business's exposure. Start conversations with other business owners. I can't oversell that. Utilize your Instagram DM. Like, be posting on your Instagram in a way that's you enjoy at the very least, and get your stuff out there, and utilize your Instagram to reach out to these people. Aaron's probably got you guys some form of doing that already. I'm not sure, but like the digital marketing aspect is like it feeds off this kind of thing. It feeds off it because you're getting good organic flow. You're testing your business's real life ability to sell your service without having to advertise. You're producing momentum. You're producing evidence that your business can do what it does without having to spend any money. It's just you and your effort. And that's why this works in so closely with advertising. That's why I honestly don't even really like digital agencies for this matter. Like, they're never going to recommend this stuff to you, because at the end of the day, they make their money off you spending it with them. And that's all they care about. They don't really care about what your business does and who you influence and who you affect. At the end of the day, okay, sure, you're cleaning a car, but you're actually making someone's life easier and better. If I were to get my car cleaned, because I'm lazy, I get gardeners, I get home cleaners. If I were to get my car detailed, I take it to a Magic Car Wash. Don't hate me, but I do that. Like, it's because it's convenience for me. I care about having my time to do this sort of thing. That's what I care about the most. And if you're being able to do that and connecting with people in that way, that is a reflection of your business. So being in person and doing this hustle is really, really effective. To get the full checklist, you can click here I put together a bunch of different ways you guys can connect with different business owners and different ideas that you could utilize. Again, I use ChatGPT, and then I just put my own spin on a lot of things. You can click there and it'll take you through and you can have a bit of a look at it. I cannot oversell doing, hustling. Questions that have been asked. So what is the best strategy for qualifying our prospective customers and maximizing the quality of our leads? There's a few ways that you can do this. Lead forms that go into detail that isn't just basic information. So the more effort someone needs to go to fill out a lead form on your website, and I'm talking about car make, I'm talking about how many doors has it got, what color is it, all these kinds of things. The more effort they need to go to be able to make that inquiry, probably the better quality the lead will be because they're sitting there and they're actually taking the time to do it. If they just have to do name, email, phone number, message, then generally speaking, there's a good chance they could be less quality. Not in every case, but having more details there so you can actually do a really good quality quote or conversation with them, then that way they'll probably be better quality. Your messaging should talk directly to your target customer. We covered this already. Your messaging, excuse me, should be targeting exactly who it is you're trying to speak to, really nailing that person. And so if you can talk directly to them, if someone feels understood by an advertisement, if they feel understood, they are far more likely to make an inquiry and they're far more likely to be the type of person you actually want to serve. So speaking directly to them. More volume. In a lot of cases, sometimes all you need is more volume. It's not every case, but if you're on Facebook, you give me 30 leads a month, 2 of them might be good. And I'm not joking, like that can be the percentage. Half of them could be good, but it is unrealistic to assume that all your leads are going to be good quality. Sometimes you just need to just have crap. That's just part of it. So if you just have bad quality stuff, sometimes you just need more of it until you have the diamonds in the rough, and they can be the customers that really build the backbone of your business off. If you're too generic, the range of your inquiries are going to be very broad. So again, this comes back to your target customer. If you're very generic with your wording, if you're very generic with your imagery and that kind of thing, it's like if you're just sort of trying to serve everybody, then you're going to get a bit of everything. That's just part of it. But if you have Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and that kind of things plastered all over your website, and you've got written in there high-end car detailing services, probably Anita from down the road who's got 2 kids and a single mum, she's probably not making an inquiry, right? So you're trying to, I don't know where I pulled Anita from, by the way. But anyway, that's like specifically talking to your type of customer and not being too broad is going to really help with qualifying prospective customers and maximizing quality as well. How do we maximize the number of high paying for high ticket services like paint corrections and ceramic coatings? In a lot of customers, in a lot of cases, customers may not be aware the service actually exists. So if you're trying to optimize for a specific service that you have higher leverage on, there's a good chance that that service specifically might not have high search volume, or it might not have, like on Google as an example, or it might not be as well known, or if it is known, that there's a very small percentage of people that know what it is and get that service as well. So generally speaking, there would need to be testing done to work out if that service is actually needed or wanted by people, and a very deliberate way of you actually saying that you do it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if it's a higher ticket service, there's naturally more buying friction. So what that means is if there is a higher ticket price on something, it takes either longer to close or there is a smaller percentage of people that are inquiring about it. So that's the part where it's like the high ticket services, you need to be very deliberate in your advertising efforts. Deliberate in advertising efforts looks like if it's a Facebook ad, you're specifically saying that we do ceramic coatings or paint corrections in that ad itself. And you're being very deliberate with the wording of it, like starting at price, what the process is, these kinds of things to be able to reach cold customers. And then when they click that button to make the inquiry, the landing page goes into more detail. You might have a video on the front of that landing page that goes into more detail about how the process works and what the inquiry process looks like for them to be able to do it. So the high ticket services, you need more evidence. There's just higher friction with them, and you need to be quite deliberate with your advertising efforts. What role does content marketing and personally driven content strategy have in the goals? So some of these questions weren't really my area because I'm sort of sticky into the realms of like the Google Ads, SEO, Facebook Ads area. I'll do my best because I just want to preface with that first because it's not really my specific area. But in my experience, local services, you're better off utilizing more traditional digital marketing mediums like your Google SEO and your Facebook ads. It's not that personally driven content strategy doesn't work. It's just that usually if it's a personal strategy, let's just say it's like Instagram, and I hope I've got this right in terms of what the question is. But like, let's just say you're posting on Instagram to gain a following. Local area generally, like they're quite specific in what they're looking for. So if they're typing into Google, they're not seeing you on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. If you're just organically posting, as an example, but like creating a following is it can be effective, but it might not be as effective as advertising on these traditional digital marketing mediums. But there is something to be said about the fact that content is really, really effective for your advertising efforts. So if you're good on camera and you have a video on your, like a VSL, a video sales letter on the front of your website, and it's you talking and you're building the relationship with a customer that's potentially going to make an inquiry before they even get to you or before you even get to them, that's going to be really effective for you guys bridging that relationship gap. And I would be a massive advocate of being very personable in the way that you're trying to connect with your customer through digital means. And I would definitely recommend, if you can, learn how to get on camera, speak on camera, these kinds of things, because at the end of the day, you are the person and you are your business and you're going out to be with them. And they kind of want to know who's coming out to their house or whatever, wherever you're going to be able to clean their car that's very close to them. Having that trust there is really, really important. So I would say that's where it's effective, but I wouldn't say that if you're a local area service-based business, that's going to be the most effective medium. There are cases where it works. There are a few other questions here. These weren't really my specific area, but like if you still want to ask about these things, like we can cover that. But yeah, it wasn't really particularly my specific skill set. Aaron, I'm at the Q&A. So I think we're going 11:20, but for you
Sweet.
Guys, I'll
That's
stick
been
around.
bro. That's been absolutely amazing, Ben. Honestly, so much value packed into that. Um, yeah, dude. Guys, let's turn our cameras on. And we can just have like a raise your hand sort of Q&A session. So turn your cameras on so that we can like see who's talking. And yeah, if you got questions, just raise your hand, and we'll go through a few questions.
And I'm happy to stick around till you guys have asked all your questions, guys. So whatever you need, please, there's no silly questions either. Ask as much as you possibly can, and I'll do my best.
I have a question for you, Ben, just to kick things off.
Yeah.
What is a typical time frame for SEO? Let's say you've got a new website that you've just built out. What do you think is a typical time frame to get it up in those first sort of few positions?
I'm going to say I would realistically expect a 6-month time frame from a brand new website that's just gotten going in a local service area. And I say that as a realistic expectation because it can take 2 months. 2 months, you could be up in those top searches if you've got a good SEO person helping you out. But there is a bit of a process, and I would expect a 6 to 12 month window. I always say that to my clients, regardless of if I get a result for them or not within a short time frame. 6 to 12 months is a good amount of time to expect it. And that's why I do recommend, if you're just starting out, there are SEO things that you can do and you can learn if you can be bothered. A lot of the time people can't, and they're just like, I don't want to do this. In which case I would get someone to just help you out. But in most cases, I would say 6 to 12 months is like a realistic expectation.
Yeah, sweet. Gabriel, you got a question?
Yeah, sure do. Can you hear me okay?
I can, man.
Yeah, sweet as awesome. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I love the presentation, bro. Like there was so much value packed in that. It was crazy. I'm gonna have to rewatch this a few times.
Awesome.
But just had a couple of quick questions for you, bro. So one of them was like around backlinks. You know, that sounded really interesting because like I've heard the term before, but I never really quite sort of understood what it was. But like just as an example, like if we have our like website linked on our socials, you know, like our TikTok, our Insta, our Facebook, like do those count as backlinks, or am I kind of missing the point of what a backlink is, if that makes sense?
No, man, you nailed it. So backlinks do count from your social profiles, so Instagram,
Okay.
Facebook. At the very least, you should always have those.
Yeah.
Google don't recognize them as super powerful links purely because anyone can do them. So if you think about a backlink like this, you can't just go to any website and just go, I'm just going to place my backlink here. You'd need to have some kind of relationship with the website owner. You need to have some kind of affiliation, as an example, which is where Google recommend that you do real business with real people, because that's generally how you get a link.
And that's the point
way.
of the backlink, isn't it? Like why it's so powerful.
Correct. Have you guys seen that Google movie with what's his name? Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson?
Nah.
No, so it's literally a movie about Google, and it's a perfect advertisement for them, because the way that Google wants business owners to operate is to do real business with real people and have real relationships. That's the whole point. So they're trying to humanize the digital experience. So if you think about a backlink like this, not like a transaction of just a link, it's a transaction of humans. So if you can build relationships with people in aligning industries, that's where it's really effective. And this is the thing, SEO agencies generally, they aren't good at the backlinking part, and they don't talk about it. So if you as the business owner can cultivate really good relationships with people over time, and you can get really good quality links that nobody else can get, generally speaking, your SEO is probably going to be better.
That makes sense, bro. Because another thing that I've seen online, and I was wondering like if you feel that there could be any value for that, like in our context, right? Is I know obviously sometimes people recommend, having like a blog on your own website with like articles about, detailing and that kind of stuff to kind of help with SEO. But something that I've seen that to me looked really effective, particularly on the backlink side of things, is I often would see like, so for a while I was like interested in this product called like Bondic, which is like this kind of cold plastic welding thingy, whatever. Anyway, I saw that there was like a competitor product that was way cheaper. And so like I Googled like what's the difference between this and this, and I found this article, which was, I'm 100% certain, like on a website that was made by the Bondic people, but like it was like a full article, and it was like, oh, there's the difference between this and this and this, but it was like, but really what we'd recommend doing is, buying Bondic, and here's where and there's a link to it and all that kind of stuff. And that makes me think a lot about, because often when I'm Googling for stuff like this, like if I'm checking out, like, oh, how do you solve this problem? How do you solve this problem? I notice like more often than not, a lot of like cleaning companies will have like articles about like, here's how you do this, but the best way to do it is to get these professionals at so-and-so. But I often notice it's not the same. Like they're not linking to a page on their own website. They're linking to another website. Do you think there's some like intentional backlink stuff going on there? And is that worth doing for us, if that makes sense?
Yeah, you've picked up on this quite well. So this starts getting a little bit technical, but a lot of SEO agencies, they use what we call private networks. And this is the thing that they don't want you knowing about. They're quite easy to find, and Google has really stamped down on them. So a private network is basically like a network of websites that have good SEO faith in Google's eyes. They place a blog article on these websites, and they link from within the article out to their clients' websites to help them rank. And the thing is, Google know that these exist, these networks, and they basically, there's a little search operator called, what you can do is you go to a website, at the very beginning of the website in the search bar, you type in site : and then the name of the website. It'll tell you if it's indexed in Google. It'll tell you if it exists on Google, on Google's network. And if like those blog sites generally have been pressed the button on by Google, and they've said, you don't exist anymore because you go against our guidelines, and they don't exist. So the links don't actually work. And anyone that's had that done in the past, let's say your business has been around for 10 years. If that's been done in the past and you've had a lot of these blog network sites been done, generally speaking, Google are probably downrating you a bit. They're probably like raised a bit of a known flag to say, hey, don't rank this website because they've been doing poor practices over the last 10 years or whatever it's been. And this is why it's such a sketchy subject for agencies to talk about, because they're just like, we don't want you knowing about our private network, because if you do, that's with the backbone of our entire agency. And I used to work in agency space where we had 120 plus employees. And I was just one of the moving parts inside there, but I saw how all this worked and I hated it because I was like, while I actually thought it was good for the customer that they got some rankings and they got up there in the searches, it was a sneaky practice.
Yeah, it does feel very kind of like it's like astroturfing kind of thing.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the way that I compare it is I kind of think about it like this. It's like fitness is pretty straightforward. If you want to be healthy, then you eat well, you sleep a lot, you keep your stress low, and you have a good quality of life. And it's generally really basic. You don't need all these supplements and doing all this crazy stuff. You just need to do the basics better than anybody else. And that's
True.
what Google is kind of like. It's like you want to do the basics well, where you're having good conversations with people, you're connecting with businesses, you're making real life, really good choices for your business and your connections with your business. And that's going to really help your SEO do far better. And also that is why SEO can be really tough, because that's the practice that I use. I just go full, hey, I need you to connect with people in your world. And they're just like, oh, I thought I was paying you to do this. It's like, yeah, but you are your business. I can't make connections for you. You need to make connections for yourself. And that's where the good quality stuff comes from.
Bro, that makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate that. It reminds me a little bit of like, I don't know, man. I really like your style because it's kind of like, like you could try and like cheat on the test, or there's like this secret hack where like, you take the materials that you're being taught and you like go over them and like fill your head with all the knowledge before the test. And then that's your like secret way to like cheat it, is you actually like just learn the material.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's kind of
right.
like you go in the gym and you want to build muscle and you just get stuck into the enhancement stuff. And
Mm,
that's got to have long-term health restrictions, right? Like
yeah.
20 years down the track, you pay for that. It's kind of like Google. You do the wrong thing from the very beginning. It might work for the first 2, 3, 5 years, but eventually they'll find you.
That makes sense. No, I appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
No worries.
Hey, Ben, can you sponsor a Google business profile? Because I've had this come up in discussion a couple times, and I wasn't aware that you could, but it seems like you can sponsor them now.
You can. I actually haven't recently done it, but I think it is possible.
Is it a new thing?
It's relatively, it's been around for a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's kind of been hit and miss. It hasn't been one of those things that's like, overly effective. Especially if your profile isn't well optimized as well. Excuse me. But I haven't actually tested it recently is my answer, because I haven't had any businesses that have been on that end of like service in the local area as much. And usually service-based businesses that are trying to get to what does it mean to sponsor? It's like Google Maps listing inside Google, and then running a Google ad for it. That's what the GMB means. So like it pops up in the top and it says sponsored. Like usually if you're a business owner and you rank on Google Maps, you normally don't have budget for it because it can be expensive. So that's usually how it is. I can share my screen real quick and show you what I mean. So it would look like this. Can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, car detailing, Sydney. If you were sponsoring a Google Maps listing, these are the map listings here, then you would pop up here and it would say sponsored underneath Detail Lab as an example. That's what a sponsored maps listing would be. I'm not actually sure if they're even really allowing it anymore, to be honest with you. But yeah, these are sponsored down here. These are search ads, and then these are the maps listings ones.
Crazy.
Sweet. Anyone else have some questions for Ben?
Please hit me, guys. Ask whatever you like.
No. I think you covered quite a lot, man. That was a real decent presentation.
No worries. Yeah. Well, like if you guys need anything, like
sorry, I do have some more questions if we're sorry, it sounded like we were starting to wrap up. So
No,
but I wanted to
it.
like give other people an opportunity to ask if they had some. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, man, is you mentioned like that there's different ways to see what the popular search terms in your area are.
Mhm.
Um, and like I remember one time Aaron showed me this thing where like you could see the number of people like, in my city that were like Googling for car detailing,
Yeah.
at least using those particular search terms. And I think the number was like 5 in a month. And I kid you not, all 5 of those were probably me like looking to like when I was first doing my market research to see like who my competitors were because it was very few.
Yeah.
Because I live in a very small town, I think we're only like 50,000 people, thereabouts. Um, but I guess that did put me in a little bit of a pickle as far as the Google side of things. So Facebook side of things is great
Yeah.
because it's a small town, because we're like community oriented, um like I can very much leverage my personal brand because like people know who I am in the community because we're such a small community.
Yeah.
But on the Google side of things, like, you know, I think it's changing now because like I have noticed like more competitors have popped up lately, which I think is a good thing. More people promoting the idea of car detailing is like, more potential clients that like I can then win. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So like
sure.
I find that prospect exciting, but I still don't know, like maybe people are looking for grooming or valeting rather than detailing. You know
Mm,
what I mean? I'm like, I want to know what are people searching for, if at all, or maybe are they looking at car cleaning? Because they're
sure.
certainly not looking up car detailing. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha. All right, let me do something real quick. I'll log you into one of my tools that I use that shows this data, and
Sweet.
you guys can do this as well. It is a paid. I use a paid tool. It's called SEM Rush. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of it before, but it basically shows you all of the data that you're looking for in a pretty quick snapshot. So I'll share my screen in a sec. I just got to log in.
I guess that is like the limiting factor for small towns. You're not going to get a lot of search volume searching
Mm.
for service like car detailing services.
Mm,
But doing things like going to shows or knocking on doors becomes way more effective because everyone's like
yep.
much more closely knit.
And that's the hustle that I was talking about as well. And it's like not every case are you going to be able to find just your customers through advertising, because
Mm,
it could be a fact, and this is the part where the variables come in. It could be the fact that people in your local area are very stuck in their ways. They could be very old school. Most of them
mm,
could live there because the age demographic is 40 plus, and they're not looking really on Facebook. So
nah.
running tests could just bring you back to, it's like Facebook advertising works really well as a blanket statement. It's like, yeah, but no one really knows, if that's going to work in your area based on those
Yeah,
things.
true. Word of mouth is
Um,
definitely king down here.
yeah, exactly. So let's have a look at Sydney Premium Detailing, right? So like that's a sick website, by the way. Like that, straight
That's
away
cool.
you can tell they're premium, right? This is what I was talking about. You're probably not getting mums and dads inquiring here. These guys are premium detailing, 12 years of experience. They're leaders. They've got all the colors right. Reviews straight away. Like this is a perfect example of what I was talking about with target customer. They're all look. That's a Beamer, a Mustang, Porsche. That's a GT3. Like you're not getting mums and dads inquiring here. Here's a video they're doing, the video sales that I was telling you guys about. This is a perfect example of everything I was talking about. Speak to your target customer. Imagery is beautiful. That's why these guys are ranking first. They've got everything dialed in. Um, but anyway, I digress. Let's have a look. If I chuck this domain name into this tool called SEM Rush, I'm just going to search from Australia because that's where I am. Hit search, and then it's going to ask me to log in. Nice. Try and refresh it. That'll be right. The tool's not going to work the first time I try and use it. All right, let's use a different tool. Let's go. Actually, give me a sec. This was a
Because the other
massive.
thing I'd be really interested to know is like, are ceramic coating something that people are already searching for in my area, or is that gonna be something that I need to like, basically like educate my town about,
Mm,
and like, yeah.
yep. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. All right, my tool's just literally just had a conniption. So uh, SEM Rush will show you this data, but not right now. Let me go back and see if there's another tool that I can use. Usually, so SEM Rush will give you all of this data. It'll tell you basically everything that's going on the inside. It'll show you which keywords that particular domain ranks for and where. Let's just type into here. Hopefully this one works. All right, cool. This is another tool that I use. It's called SERPstat. So what I've done is I put Sydney premium detailing into the search box, and then I'm going to check out all the keywords that this particular domain name ranks for. So you can see here, position basically means, if I expand this out, position basically means where they are on Google in Australia. So when I say Australia, it's like it'll be Sydney mostly. That's where they're ranking. But it has a full list of everything that they're currently ranking for right now. And this is where competitor research is really handy, because all of your keywords are right here. They're right in front of your face in terms of what they're being searched for, and also the volume that's associated with it. So the volume is how many times per month is this keyword typed into Google to find this particular service, as an approximation. So about 2,000 times per month, car detailing Sydney's been typed in. They're in first position, and they're getting about 284 people hitting their website based off just that keyword alone. Now you got to remember, like 284 people of the 1,900, like that's a certain percentage of the people that are coming through. But it's also because they're premium. That's what they say they are straight away. So if you go back to the search, you can see here, Sydney premium detailing, advanced ceramic coatings. Like you can see at a glance that these guys are premium. So chances are they're already weeding people out who don't want premium service because they know it's probably going to be too expensive, whatever it might be. It gives you an estimate of around about the cost per click for this particular keyword. I'm going to say that's not accurate, by the way. I'm going to say it's a lot more than that. For Sydney, car detailing Sydney. Very, very competitive in Sydney. Sydney is one of those areas here in Australia that's one of the major cities, especially for this service. So at a glance, you get straight away a bunch of these keywords that you can look for yourself on what they're typing in. And then also what you can do is you can type in just keywords, and you can find out, if that data is sort of in your local area too. So what keyword did you say before that you were sort of interested in?
Well, like ceramic coatings. I want to know if people in Invercargill are like Googling for ceramic coatings.
Sweet. So if we go to keyword research, we can go ceramic coatings. Let's just use Sydney again as an example. So make sure you're choosing your correct city, and then your correct search area. So for you, it would be google.com. And then you would go type in your local area too. So just making sure that you add your specific location, and it'll tell you what the search volumes are associated with it. So ceramic coating Sydney, 1,000 searches a month and about $1 cost per click. And then it'll give you some different variations of that keyword that you can check out as well to see if that's relevant to sort of the terms that they're searching for. And it'll also give you who's ranking in that area as well, in the top searches. So competitors in organic search. And then what I would do is I would just go to these websites, check them out, see what they're sort of doing in the area. And you can see straight away, like these guys, compared to the other website, like this is just like, nowhere near as good, right? So it's like, you get a good idea of what your competitors are sort of doing as well.
Can you just, for an example, actually type in maybe one or a couple of the guys' areas? To see, like Invercargill, for example, like Gabriel suggested.
Yep. So ceramic coatings would be for you. You got the States, and then
New Zealand, actually.
I'm in New Zealand, bro.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
All good, man. All good. The accent's a little misleading. I grew up in the US.
Fair. And what area would you be looking at?
Like what area of Invercargill?
No, sorry. What area is your ceramic coating service? What's our location?
Oh, the location is Invercargill.
Oh, sorry, Ricardo.
No, sorry. So in Invercargill. So that's
Put it in the chat.
INVER. Yeah, I'll drop it in the chat, bro. I'll drop it in the chat.
My bad.
No, you're okay, bro.
I'm killing it, aren't I? It's like get your country wrong, everything.
It's all good, man.
access the chat. Cool. Now there's a good chance this won't actually return any searches, and there's a reason for that. All right, cool. So it says no data, right? But if we just go, we don't put the town in, so that'll be a small population. But you can see ceramic coating in the NZ is getting around about that 1,300 searches. So there's a warrant search for it. Like there's people are searching for it. They are in New Zealand area. And it's not to say that you wouldn't be found for it. The no data aspect of like these tools, it usually works off a little bit more than just specific smaller locality stuff. So you can probably safely assume there's going to be some people searching for that service in your area. If you do it, I would still optimize for it.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Is there anyone else that wants like some searches done for them?
What about Cortez? Where are you based, bro? Because I know you and I have a similar thing with living in small towns.
Yeah, you can try Pukekohe.
Just try car detailing. Just try car detailing. So it's not so specific.
Yeah, actually, even just car detailing in Recargill and then Pukekohe, I wonder what will come up in each one.
That's ceramic detailing.
No, sorry. Yeah, that's not retaining any data. That's all right. I wouldn't assume that it would. Probably just not enough data to assume search.
That's actually a crazy small number though, if you think about it. Like 1.3K for all of New Zealand, because New Zealand's like 5 million people.
Yeah. And that just probably speaks to location as well. It's like how many people are actually sort of looking for it.
Yeah.
And you can see like Super Cheap Auto, they're ranking first. It tells me
that's crazy.
That tells me plenty. It tells me plenty. It tells me that like your competition isn't massively high if Super Cheap Auto are ranking first. I mean, it is because Jim's Cleaning is probably going to be hard to beat. Money Hub, I didn't
see even gyms though. We don't really have like I think there's one Jim's car detailing in like Wellington. It's not as ubiquitous with detailing as it is in Aussie, like far from.
Yeah, sure.
Like that really Jim's Cleaning you would have had there is like their janitorial service so it's not part of the Jim's car detailing division. It's part of the Jim's Cleaning, and then they do a little bit of like car grooming in New Zealand. It's super funky.
You're exactly right, because they're ranking off the back of just this page, the homepage of their cleaning franchise. And it's mentioned here and it's ranking in the top 3. So,
dude.
And then you've got this, whatever this is, like this is insane. I don't even know what this is.
So I know what that is. That's crazy. So what Money Hub is, it's like a, bro, part of me suspects it might be one of those like backlink block things you're talking about, because like whenever you Google stuff in New Zealand, there always seems to be a Money Hub article talking about like the top services in New Zealand that offer blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And this is a really good example of like car detailing isn't huge in the NZ.
Nah.
So it's one of those areas where like carcleaning.nz. So these guys are going like .nz domain, and you can see like website quality, these kinds of things, like it matters. And this is probably, I mean, yeah, these websites are relatively outdated, and it's a bit all over the place, and it's got like moving start. It's like, yeah, there's opportunity here for sure. You got toyota.co.nz. They probably don't even do a detailing service. They probably just rank because they mention.
Final Touch is the only like actual detailing company that is ranking on there, and they're super low.
Yep. There you go.
Lots of opportunity for New Zealand. It shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
For New Zealand car detailers to start ranking. You know, I assume car cleaning would be a higher search volume, but Ben, we've taken up almost a couple hours of your time, man. Super appreciative. And on behalf of all of us, yeah, we're just like, thank you heaps. Where can anyone find you or reach out to you? Do you want to leave some final words for us?
Yeah, sure, guys. I mean, probably the best place to reach out to me if you need something. I'll drop in to actually, if I give to you, Aaron, maybe. Oh, actually, no. Probably Instagram is going to be the best place. So I'll put my Instagram handle in there for you guys, so you guys can visit that.
Even what about like your email? Even just if someone wants to
Yeah.
get in touch with some, for
I
some
probably
advice.
will respond faster to the Insta.
Instagram,
If
sweet.
you guys need something, and then we can connect up. Like if you need help with something, please let me know. Like any questions you guys have, like whatever you want to talk about, just hit me up. No problem. If you want like a bit of a review done or anything like that, like happy to check your website out and just make some basic recommendations for you. And like I said, I just want to give you guys value. So like, obviously I do this service, but it's like, and if you need assistance with it, you're like, look, I need help with it. You can always reach out and we can work from there. But apart from that, yeah, whatever else I can help you guys with, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Perfect. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so
Thanks
much,
so
man.
much,
That was
Ben.
super.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Yeah,
Ben.
that's awesome.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.